All right, today we are diving headfirst into one of the wildest chapters in Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, Chapter 5, The Whomping Willow. Seriously, this is where a totally normal trip back to school goes completely off the rails and turns into this high-flying, rule-shattering, tree-pulverizing mess. So let's get right into it.
So let me ask you something. What's the most desperate thing you've ever done to get somewhere on time? Maybe you had to sprint through an airport or take some crazy shortcut you weren't supposed to. Okay, now imagine your solution involves a grand theft auto of a flying car. Yeah, that's the level of pure panic and, let's be honest, terrible decision-making we're about to see from Harry and Ron. The morning at the Burrow is just absolute chaos. It's this whirlwind of forgotten fireworks, misplaced spellbooks, and just pure last-second panic. This isn't just a case of, oops, we're running a little late. Oh no, this is setting the perfect stage for a total catastrophe before they've even walked out the door.
So the plan seems simple enough, right? Everything's going just fine, until suddenly it isn't. The rest of the Weasleys, they all get through to platform 9 3/4, no problem. But for Harry and Ron, their plan hits a very literal brick wall. The magical gateway just seals itself. And just like that, at 11 o'clock, the Hogwarts Express pulls away, leaving them completely stranded. You can just feel the panic set in. They're stuck on the Muggle side of the station, Ron's parents can't see them, they have no Muggle money, and they're starting to get some very weird looks. Their options are disappearing, and fast. So, what do you do now? Just when it feels like all hope is lost, Ron gets this look in his eye. He's got an idea. And let me tell you, it's bold, it's reckless, and it is about to break so many wizarding laws. Oh, this is just the classic sound of a 12-year-old trying to talk himself into a really bad idea. Ron's understanding of wizarding law is a little fuzzy. He actually calls it the restriction of thingy. But in his mind, this is a real emergency, which makes his next move feel totally logical, even though it is completely 100% illegal. And just like that, the panic is gone, and it's replaced by this incredible thrill. They are soaring over London in a flying car, sharing a bag of candy. For one short, beautiful moment, it's the perfect adventure. But, as you can probably guess, this dream of a grand entrance is about to come crashing right back down to earth. Yeah, that perfect flight, it goes south and fast. Their journey pretty much becomes a textbook example of how one single bad decision can snowball into an absolute avalanche of disasters. I mean, this wasn't just one thing going wrong. It was a total domino effect of failure. First, the Invisibility Booster breaks, so Muggles can see them. Then, just as they spot Hogwarts, the engine completely dies. They start plummeting toward the school grounds and slam directly into a very angry, very violent tree. And to top it all off, the car itself gets fed up, kicks them out, and just runs away, leaving them to face their least favorite teacher. Perfect. Now think about this for a second. Before a single teacher at Hogwarts even knows they're there, their little illegal joyride is already front-page news. Professor Snape is literally waiting for them, holding a copy of the Evening Prophet with the headline right there. So much for a subtle arrival, right? And they didn't just crash into any old tree. Oh, no. The Whomping Willow is basically a magical, violent security system for the school. Crashing into it is like driving your car straight into a priceless, very angry historical landmark. This isn't just an accident, it's practically an act of magical vandalism. So, they've broken the law, damaged school property, and been caught red-handed. But what happens next isn't so simple. Their arrival completely splits the school, creating two totally opposite opinions on what they did. So on one side, you've got the teachers who see a serious crime, but on the other, you have their fellow Gryffindors who see an absolutely legendary entrance. This huge difference shows us that at Hogwarts, things like reputation and rule-breaking, well, it all depends on who you ask. The official reaction from the staff is just fascinating. Snape is basically thrilled. He's practically drooling at the thought of expelling them. Dumbledore's quiet disappointment, well, that hits Harry way harder than any yelling would. And then you have Professor McGonagall. She's furious, of course, but she's also the voice of reason who actually gives them their real punishment. So for this massive, public, incredibly dangerous rule-breaking, how many points do you think Gryffindor lost? 0. A big, fat 0.
In this brilliant moment, Harry argues that since the term hadn't officially started with the feast, no house points could be taken away. You can almost see McGonagall try not to smile before she agrees, and then immediately assigns them detention. So while the teachers are upstairs debating whether to expel them, the Gryffindor common room just erupts. They're not seen as rule breakers at all. They're heroes. Lee Jordan calls their entrance inspired. Really, the only people in their own house who disapprove are the ultimate rule followers, Percy and Hermione. Okay, so after all that chaos, what's the big takeaway here? Beyond the crash and the detentions, what does this chapter really show us about Harry, Ron, and the world they're living in? Well, first, it's a huge lesson in unintended consequences. Their goal was simple, get to school, but that spiraled out of control. Second, we really see how subjective rules can be. To the staff, they're delinquents. To their friends, they're legends. And finally, going through this whole disaster together makes their bond even stronger, proving that friendship can really be tested and even strengthened when you face trouble side by side. And that brings us to a really interesting final question. Look, their decision was objectively terrible. They broke laws, they put people in danger, they almost got expelled, but it also made them heroes to their friends and made their friendship even stronger. So was it worth it? Can a really bad choice ever lead to a genuinely good outcome? That's definitely something to think about. Thanks so much for joining me for this one.